Malcol Sony, and Macrobium IDA. Macrobium IDA. Then it is to complete to the variation and distributed to like that in particular areas. So only 40 species all of the belongs to genuine in microbiome and special species. The giant freshwater prawn name is Macrobium rosenbergi as faster growth, higher tolerance to wide range to the temperature and silently and less cannibalistic tendency. So cannibalism. So cannibalism is the cannibalism. The cannibalistic tendency is like that in particular species of France, Macrobium rosenbergi, due to which is it found to be a suitable for most suitable for the culture. Even Macrobium macalmosoni is also adapted well for culture. Macrobium rosenbergi has dark gray and longitudinal streaks of the darker and lighter color. The largest preferred of adult male is the bright or dark blue or lavender and orange at joints. So the eggs of buried females are yellow. The color is yellow. This species is identified by the long and sladden or rostrum with 11 to 14 teeth on its dorsal margin and 8 to 14 teeth on the ventral margin. One he males grow up to 35 centimeters, females up to 24 centimeters, and attain the weight of 200 grams. The prevalently increases with the size and prevalently is 7,000 to 5 lakhs. The size at the first maturity is 14 centimeters. So this is complete the general characteristics of Macrobium rosenbergi. So this is the symptoms of fresh growth in freshwater water in particular areas. So then again, young Malcolm Sony called as the monsoon river prawn. So monsoon river prawn, like that whenever the rains is started monsoon like that to June to September, then water is stored the particular bowl of areas. It is called as the river. Then at the same time, growth in Malcolm Mosoni is one of the prawn species. It is the dark gray dorsal and pallor ventrally. It is identified by the rather long rostrum with 7 to 11 teeth on the dorsal margin and 4 to 7 teeth on the ventral margin. The male and female grow up to 25 and 20 centimeter respectively. The fecundity increases with the size and the fecundity range from the 4,000 to 60,000. This size at the first maturity in 4 centimeters. The food and feeding habitats. What is that? This is the particular freshwater culture of prawn. Food and feeding habitats. The main general character recognized to the habitats is very important. Recognized to the specific species. The prawns are bottom feeders, omnivores, and feed on aquatic worms, insects, small crustaceans, mollusks, nematodes, offal of fish. What vegetable matter, filamentous algae, tender leaves, and stem of aquatic plants. Bimchar and started with the food preference by the species of macrobium is almost the non-existent. However, there exists for the performance in relation to age groups in the that male juveniles restores are feeding mainly on diatoms. So this is the very important of food and feeding habitats of France. So mainly France like that to omnivores. Omnivores means is that taken the food of animals and crustaceans and plant leaves and plant stems. So this is the both feeding efficiency. It is called as the omnivores. So majorly juvenile juvenile forms are taken the only food of diatoms. The distributions. Then again distribution. Where it is the distribution in this is a macrobium Rosenbergi is found in distributed from lower to upper reaches of rivers. So river is one of the freshwater fishes like that. Then particular areas rivers they preferably show our muddy environment. They have an essentially page in east areas where tidal influences is found for purpose of swapping and to complete the early life cycle. So maturing adult migrate to the low, lower lower reaches of the river where the water is conductive for further metamorphosis of the larvae, where the larvae mold through several stages and an uh, attainment of post larvae or early juveniles, they commence migration back to freshwater zone. The macrobiome Rosenbergi reach only nearest freshwater zone, preferring to stay adjacent to tribal to tidal reaches. It is most widely distributed in the South and South Asian areas. So this is the distribution of France in river to migrate. So because of this adapted migrated in France like that only two regions. The one is the nutrition performance. Then second one is the reproductive systems. So mainly the migrations adaptation to France, those are two fundamentals. One is the nutrition based and second one is the reproductive system measures. So because this widely distribution to South and Asian rivers. The second largest prawn in India is Macrobium Malcolmsoni, which is the found almost all rivers. It migrates about the 1400-kilometer river for towards by a Bay of Bengal. The juvenile migrate very far upstream, upstream preparing the upstream preferring to so appearing preferring to the particularly in particularly to the particular against to the areas. So because the this migration in place to nearby to uh, one place to another place to like that near existing the 1400 kilometers rivers from the towards by Bay of Bengal. The juvenile migrate very far upstream, preferring clear river water. It has also been found in Bangladesh, Burma, and Sri Lanka and Pakistan, etc. So this is the highest in particular of South Asians and particular of two Pacific. Macrobium Sorenbergi, Macrobium Maransoni. So this is the Two, first one, food and feeding habitats. Then second one, distribution of areas. And third one, reproductive system. Reproduction. During the breeding, the male uh, predominantly stay in freshwater zone while the females move to the brackish water areas, and thereby the sex ratio is altered. The females predominant in the monsoon month and male and in water. However, both males and females show the equal distributions in the summer. In variability, those species mature at the end of the first year. So this is the monsoon of year of the monsoon year of the one of the year of the particular areas in like that summer position, summer monsoon. So the equal distribution like that male and female distribution equal distributions in the summer time, because the invariability those species mature at the end of the first year. The next one, the breeding season of freshwater prawns coincide with the monsoon. The breeding period in East Coast for the Macrobium rosenbergi is December to July, with a peak of March and May, and the West Coast the corresponding period of the August and December, with the peak on October and to November. The Macrobium malansoni the breeds during the April to November, with a peak period of June July. The temperature and salinity are found to the influences the breeding and migration of freshwater prawns. So those are different in like that the monsoon here month to month, June to June, June to July, and October to November. Then life cycle. Those two species attain a size of 250 to 350 millimeters in total length. The full maturity is attained the 10 months in a year, concluding with the commencement of rainfall. The breeding lasts for 8 to 10 months in a year. So the total year of breeding the time 8 to 10 months. 8 to 10 months. So this is the complete life cycle of reproductive systems. Then again the crustaceans growth. The crustacean growth are with repeated molting during the each of the with sudden increases in the length and weight occurs. The number of molts during its lifespan depends on its age and the type of food it consumes. The young prawns molting it frequent and is invariability once in every 10 millimeters growth. The matting takes places throughout the year with 3 to 4 seasonal peaks related to temperature and other environmental conditions. The fully ripped female then releases egg within few hours of mating. The eggs get attached to the set of pleopods. Pleopods is one of the in chambers of walking legs. The female incubates those eggs and period of rearing from 15 to 19 days uh, by the vigorous movement. Vigorous movement. The pleopod creating the aeration of the eggs. The buried females are known to actually migrate to the ensure region for the purpose of hatching. Earlier, the hens. The fertilizing of eggs are bright orange eggs being fed into a pale gray and finally darkening to slate gray and attaching in the offspring Each female can mature again, and span again and respectively. So those are different by the particular movement is the reproductive time and the life cycle. So the prawn life cycle is completely all those eggs are attached within the night. The larvae are distributed by the vigorous movement of the abdominal legs of the female. So the eggs are viviparous methods. Viviparous methods means the eggs released to female 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 legs of abdominal legs to releasing of female. The larvae are planktonic method. Plankton means is a enter water surface of water, the layering of the water surface, and because of this is the receiving of sunrise and sun synthesis by the hatching the earlier to juvenile animals. They feed to zooplankton. They need silence water for few days. The larvae called as the Zoya process through 8 to 11 distinct stages, identified by the day, day to day, day to day development of appendages, state and the rostral teeth. The whole process takes of varying period of 18 to 45 days. The complete the larvae stages Zoya larvae is complete to releasing to the growth time period of 18 to 45 days. 18 to 45 days. The 45 is the complete adult. Complete adult, it is the mature to the male to female. Male to female. So completely matured. 45 days. The during the metamorphosis into post larvae when they are around 77 millimeters in the size and reasonable adult in the all respects. After metamorphosis, the post larvae migrate to freshwater. They feed on zooplankton, organic detritus, etc., and are termed as the omnivores, and as they grow that eat insects and crustaceans, decaying and vegetables and animal matter. They show cannibalistic and tendencies by the eating on their own fellow members. So this is the very important of the larvae growing of omnivores and omnivores. Omnivores means is taking the food, zooplankton and phytoplankton, that is called as the omnivores. So next one, the fifth one, collection and transport of prawn seeds. How to the collection? How to the transport of prawn seeds? The seeds of prawns are collected there either from natural resource from hatchery units. The first basic one, the prawns seeds are collection to the natural process, and they can be collected from the nature with the help of mesh, cloth, bag, nets, and nets of 2 meters along the and 1 meter diameter. The seed may be produced by collecting varied females. The females petted with 15 to 20 parts per million formulin, formulin, formulin for about the 30 minutes and introduced in the rectangular tanks. The eggs hatches out and the larvae are fed with Atimia nupili. The fish eggs minced with and chopped earthworms after 25 to 28 days from the hatching, they become the post larvae. Those are carefully captured from the larvae tanks and reared in concentrate tanks with the fresh water at the rate of 5,000 meters square. Their population may be thinned out of 1,000 after 1 month they reach the weight of 1 to 2 grams or foods like napili, tubics, tubics farm and fish meal. After 1 month, they are stocked in the production ponds. So this is the collection method of freshwater prawns. Then again, the prawns are intended for transportation to live for several hours if kept moist and packed in baskets between layer of the soft plants. For short journeys, the seed can be transported in 100 lit tins within 40 lit of slightly saline water. About the 30,000 of post larvae may be added for transportation of each carrier for longer journey. Oxygen packed polythene containers with the mixture of fresh water and brackish water are used for the transportation to 100 to 200 post larvae in each bag. For each bag, in concentration of uh, concentration of each bag 100 to 200 larvae. The prawn culture pond. So, how to prepare of the natural prawn culture pond and water resources and land resources. How to choose the particular areas. The rectangular ponds with their long axis oriented in the direction of the prevailing wide are distributable for prawn culture. The ponds with 0.1 to 0.1 hectare areas with a sloping plain bottom 2% and have a deeper end for the harvesting. In larger ponds, more than 1 hectares, the harvesting is a big problem. The length of width ratio is the mainly considered of ratio 2.5 is to 1 is desirable because this pond depth can be within a range of 0.75 to 1.5 meters. The ponds are sloped in the ratio of 2.5 to 3.0 is to 1 so as to provide the shallow areas inside the pool. The pond bounds should be at least a meter wide for the movement of personal and materials. The composition of bonds and bottom to necessary to prevent water spaces. The bond tops should be at least to 0.5 to 1.0 meters above the water surface to check inundation during the floods or rains. The burnt slopes may be covered with grass to prevent erosion. So this is the prawn culture and farms. Next one, the seventh one, water quality. The water quality is very important because of the prawns are untimely growth in particular period of time depend by the water resourcement to water qualities. The first is the most important of the prawn culture. Some of the water quality carrier by dissolved oxygen. So main important of dissolved oxygen because of aquatic animals dissolved receiving the respiratory and dissolved oxygen. The main temperature dissolved oxygen 5 to 80 parts per million. pH 7 to 8.5. Temperature 24 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. Salinity 0.25 to 0.75 parts per millions. Calcium less than 100 parts per million. Phosphorus less than 1 parts per million. Nitrate 1 parts per million. The total dissolved solids 300 parts per millions. Before filling the pond with water, grass should be allowed to grow at the bottom. The aquatic plants like hydrilla, hypomia, etc. introduced in the migratory areas and the font coverage under 10% of the total space. So this is the important of water quality and temperature, humidity, calcium, nitrate, potassium, and pH also. The management of practices, very, very important. Each and every cultures methods like that, aquatic cultures or any poultry cultures and any acquired uh, important cultures are mainly depend on the management of practices. Water inflow is to be so designed that some exchanges of air leads to improve other water quality problems. Depending on the nature of the pond bottom, limiting should be applied at the rate of 1000 kg per hectare. It is a desirable to maintain the pH 7.2 7 to 8.5 as prawns feed mainly on detritus. The fawn need not to be fertilized. At the same time, the use of fertilizers is restricted of supplementary feeds are used. This beginnings as the commercial practices, occasionally addition of cow dung 200 kg per hectare, single super sulfate 25 kg per hectares, and urea are used to keep their water green. The bigger prawns may have a strong territorial insect. The smaller ones are likely to be attacked and scrap nets to nets or flam. Leaves of pigeon hole type multi-tipper brick structures may be inserted as to from hideouts to the various places in the pond. Those hideouts also harbor organisms which in turn serve as good food sources to the growing prawns. Then next one, this is the management of practices. The next one is the stocking. 20 to 60 millimeters and 4 weeks old juveniles are ideal for stocking in ponds. Juveniles should be accumulated before the stocking in the ponds. The rate of stocking identify may are according to the type of culture, practices, and period. The optimal stocking density is 25,000 to 30,000 juveniles per hectare. In circulation system, the stocking density may be increased to 40,000 to 50,000 per hectare. For continuous culture practices, the stocking density can be considerably enhanced and a density of 2 lakhs juveniles per hectare has been found to be held better results. The culture of operations may be of either hatch culture or continuous culture. By the hatch culture practices, the juveniles are grown only for 4 to 5 months and are harvested at one time. In hatches culture, two crops can be cultured in an year. By continuous culture, the juveniles are stocked once in every year. The marketable sized prawns are first harvested after 4 to 5 months. The culture period. The smaller prawns are released back into the pond and the culture operations are continued for the another months. The effort to the all prawns are harvested in the time of period. The next one, the last next one, the 10th one, feeding. So development prawns are feeding is likely the prawns are almostly omnivores. So development of compound of feed as revolutionized the commercial framing system, increasing the production more than tenfold, like the tenfold. However, the cost consideration play as an important role in determining whether the system is to be at a extensive leave level or semi-intensive level. The supplementary feeds like trash fish, molluscas, uh, tapoica, acetux special and pig dung may be given from balls at the rate of 5 to 10% body weight. The chicken increases, especially decade increases, serve and the ideal food source of the uh, scavenging prawns. The essential factor is about that feed conservation factor may be not exceeded to 1:2 ratio or 3. For example, for every kg of prawns feed weight should not be more than 2 or 3 kgs. So this is the ratio of feeding give the feeding of prawns and artificial prawns. The prawns are cannibalistic in nature. Cannibalistic means like that omnivores. The stronger ones will prey upon the smaller and soft-bodied of proper and sufficient body is not available in the pond. The prawns feed actually at the night and rest during the day, hiding under the safe places and shades. They are omnivores and feed on a variety of stuff they come across while scavenging in the margin of pond. It is the better to provided in matcher of 50% animal and 50% plant feed. Ingredients the 30 to 40% of protein levels to the obtain better growth and production. To avoid wastage of feed. The feeding baskets through throughout of wooden containers are normally placed at several points along with the migration of the pond. So migration, when the adapted to migration because the migration the convert to the two regional variations. The one is the reproduction system, and the second one the nutrition systems. The feed, the feed of the feeds are used in powder from or in small pieces of the first 2 months. The followed by the large pieces for the rest in the growing period. This procedure is particularly applicable in case of the topica root food of apple snail, trash fish, etc., which are produced in large sizes, crushed rice and coconut oil cake should be soaked in water before the feeding. Next one, 11th is the growth and survival. The optimum growth is an index of good water quality and adaptive nutrition in a pond. The growth and several of prawns depends on various factors like food, stocking densities, water quality, climate, and pond size. Optimal conditions are seasonal for the fast growth. So those are the physical formation of optimal condition, density, and food factors and water qualities, and each and every physical factors like that the growth and survival. The optimum conditions are essential for the growth. Therefore, it is necessary to check the growth at the periodic intervals using cast net of Snaker Degent. If growth is not satisfactory, the management practices need to the reviewed of determine the crustacean factors. It is the prawns are allowed to grow to over the large size. The yield and survival may decrease while the feed conservation ratio will increases considerably, resulting higher cost of production. Therefore, it is advisable to fix the culture provide with the 5 to 6 months. There is an inversive ratio between the growth and several, where growth is high, the several is low. The several rate varies between 5 to 90% depending on the nature of the stocking materials. The freshwater prawns do not grow and unfortunately unformed rate. The males are much faster and the female, which tendency the so declines in the growth in the attempt maturity. The growth ratio varies according to the stocking density in the exemption by the earthen fonts of density of 10,000 for hectare with the stocking size at the 15 to 20 grams. Males grow the 260 millimeters and 140 grams for hectares. In females, 157 millimeter, 47 grams. In the period of 190 days under the extensive culture systems. So, how many duration that taken the time? The extensive method in 190 days are under the extensive time. So, next class we will discuss to the harvesting, polyculture, and taken the management very important next class. Thank you one and all, and say have a nice day. Thank you one and all.